I think it's working. I think we've got a live stream going. All right. My name is Erin Mae, and I get to be with you today while Steve is hanging out with his kids who are visiting. So it is a joy and a delight to be doing the Wednesday morning live stream with you today. So this is for me summer season. Summer season. And summer season for me is the season of kids camps and music festivals. And I am actually teaching some arts programming for the summer school program in my school district. And so I've got singing with children on the brain. And so I thought that we would talk about that topic today. So singing with children, that's what we're going to talk about. I'm watching the chat on Facebook, so if you're tuning in there or on Vimeo, you can post questions that you have in those chat places, and I'll keep an eye on them. All right, cool. So singing with children, how do we do this? What do we do? How does it work? I want to kind of talk about the key and range of songs, how to simplify what you play on the dulcimer, and how to make simple songs interactive. So those are kind of the things that I want to touch on today with us. So over the years, I have learned that kids' voice range tends to be about an octave from middle C to the C above middle C if you were looking on the piano. So on the dulcimer, that's the C note at the 6th fret on the bass string, la, which would also be at the 1.5 fret on the middle string if I had a 1.5 fret. And then it goes up to the C on the melody string. So generally, kids can usually sing in that range. And they might be able to go a note or two lower, which would take them down to like the open middle string note, or a note or two higher, which would take them up to like the melody string 8th fret. And for me, that's in the high end of where I'm really comfortable singing. I don't like to sing above the 7th fret really at all if I can avoid it. And I could go maybe a little bit lower, but not a lot lower. So what I found is that DAD tuning tends to work pretty good for a lot of kids' songs. But if you want to get even closer to the range where kids can really actually sing the notes that you're singing, the keys of C and F usually work a lot better. So one of the first things that I do if I know I'm going to be singing with kids a lot and I'm playing my standard diatonic dulcimer, a lot of you know that I also play the chromatic mountain dulcimer. And so sometimes if I'm playing the chromatic mountain dulcimer, I will just actually pick the best key for each individual song, and it could be any range of keys. But generally, the keys of C and F are going to work really well, and those are not the keys that my DAD dulcimer plays really well in. So what I often do is tune my dulcimer down a whole step to where I'm playing in C, G, C instead. So I'm going to do that right now. Each string goes down by one whole step. To C, G, C, and I have a double melody string, so I gotta tune 2 melody strings down to C. Getting double melody strings to match, that's always a trick, isn't it? We're almost there. So sometimes as you noticed, when you tune the whole instrument down or up, what will happen is that the string you tuned first isn't still in tune when you finish it all, because you've changed the amount of tension across the whole instrument. So sometimes you have to hit each string a couple of times to get it in tune, but that's sounding pretty good. So now I've still got my standard diatonic dulcimer, but I'm in the key of C. And so any song that I play, usually on my dulcimer, where the notes are all on the melody string, is going to work really well now for kids to sing between 0 and 7. That's C to C on the melody string. So if you think about a song like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, it fits in that range. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. So all of the notes were on the melody string, and you may have noticed that when I was playing it, I just used my pointer finger to play the notes. And part of the reason for doing that is to simplify my own thing on the dulcimer. I am not the strongest singer. Singing is not like my forte. So I always figure either the singing or the dulcimer playing has to go on autopilot. I can probably only really think about one or the other. And for me, thinking about singing involves the note, the pitch that I have to sing, and the word that I have to sing, and that's already plenty for my brain to do. So I keep my dulcimer playing really, really simple. But the other reason that I sometimes just use one finger is so the kids can see that I'm just moving one thing and it's changing the sound on the dulcimer. So a song like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, where the melody is pretty much stepwise, I often just play the melody with it. But there are songs that the melodies are tricky and I play chords instead, and I just do really simple strums. My D chord is open, my G chord is 0-1-3 or 3-1-0. I keep it really simple. My A chord is 101. So if you've heard me talk about playing bluegrass, which I've talked about on the Wednesday morning live streams in the past, I'm working my way up the fretboard and I'm playing all kinds of like fancy things and I'm playing closed chords, and I don't do any of that when I sing with kids. I way simplify the dulcimer part. So don't feel like you have to do a lot of fancy things on the dulcimer to be able to like sing songs with kids and take your dulcimer with them. It can be, you and one kid, or you and a small group of kids in your neighborhood or at church, or libraries are awesome. I love to take dulcimers to libraries and let kids try to play them a little bit. Just do like a come and go time where kids can try playing the dulcimer and you sing songs for them. Libraries are awesome places. So there's lots of possibilities for beginning to sing with kids, even if it's just like 1 or 2 kids that you sing with. Okay, so the key of C works great for all of the songs where the melody is on the melody string. But we have a lot of songs in dulcimer and American folk music repertoire that go down to the middle string. La, la, la. And now our middle string open is definitely too low for kids to sing. It's down in the bottom of their range. They couldn't probably sing that note. But I said the keys of C and F are really great for singing with kids. So the key of F is the key that's really great if it goes below the melody string onto the middle string. So what I'm doing now is I'm putting a capo on the 3rd fret. And because our dulcimer was tuned to C, G, C, now the notes that I'm playing are F, C, and F. My dulcimer has effectively been transformed to an instrument that plays in the key of F. And one of the songs I always think about personally that I like to sing is I like to sing Hush Little Baby. And Hush Little Baby goes on the middle string a lot. Hush, hush little baby, Papa's gonna buy you a mockingbird. And in this one, I usually only play chords. Did you see that? So I'm playing open strum and an A chord shape, which is 101, right? But now my capo's on, so I'm actually playing fret 4 and 4. Papa's gonna buy you a mockingbird. And Hush Little Baby only has 2 chords. So I can play this song in the key of F by using the capo and just use open strumming and the 101 shape. And now I'm playing F chords and C chords, but I didn't have to like think about it in that way. I'm still thinking just a D chord and an A chord shape, but I'm actually playing an F. Isn't that cool? So I'm going to sing Hush Little Baby. Hush little baby, don't say a word. Papa's gonna buy you a mockingbird. And if that mockingbird won't sing, Papa's gonna buy you a diamond ring. And if that diamond ring turns to brass, Papa's gonna buy you a looking glass. And if that looking glass gets broke, Papa's gonna buy you a billy goat. And if that billy goat won't pull, Papa's gonna buy you a card and ball. And if that card and ball turn over, Papa's gonna buy you a dog named Rover. And if that dog named Rover won't bark, Papa's gonna buy you a horse and cart. And if that horse and cart fall down, you'll still be the sweetest little baby in town. Okay, so I admit it took me a long time to memorize all the words to Hush Little Baby. They're all rhyming, and I love rhyming songs with kids. Rhyming songs, counting songs, color songs, those are all really great songs for young kids to start to get them to interact and engage and to learn. I mean, they are teaching them learning things along the way too. Okay, so either the key of C when the melody's on the melody string or capo 3. Yeah, it's not quite cumulative. That's true. It is more in a circle. So cumulative songs would be songs where you like add a lot of cumulative songs are animal songs for littles. So you like add another animal and then you add another animal and you add another animal and you have to keep remembering them. Or like She'll Be Coming Round the Mountain is another really good example. It works good in F too. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes, yee-haw! And then they have to remember the yee-haw every time. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes, yee-haw! She'll be coming round the mountain, she'll be coming round the mountain, she'll be coming round the mountain when she comes, yee-haw! She'll be driving 6 white horses when she comes, whoa back! Yee-haw! She'll be driving 6 white horses when she comes, whoa back! Yee-haw! So just the action part of She'll Be Coming Round the Mountain is cumulative, not the whole song. But like there's a hole in the bottom of the sea, or the Irish song, The Ratlin' Bog, where you start with a hole or you start with a bog down in the valley-o, and then in that hole you put a tree, and then on the tree you put a branch, and then on the branch you put a twig, and on the twig you put and those are really fun if you have just a small group of kids to ask them what goes on to the tree next, or what goes on to the log in the hole in the bottom of the sea next. And then you try to remember those every time around. That's a good like elementary school age activity where you're trying to get them to really remember what happened and do sequences. So that's really fun. I'm planning that for some of the activities. I'm working with first graders at the summer school program. And one of the things we're trying to learn how to do is recognize patterns and make patterns and say things in sequences. And so if we're saying things in sequences, those cumulative songs can be really good for practicing that skill in a way that feels way more fun than like write down first this happened, second this happened, third this happened. Cumulative songs are cool. Yeah. So, how do you find these songs? Would be sort of another question. So, I just want to kind of tell you about a couple of resources that I have used a lot. First of all, the internet knows a lot of kids songs. So looking up like great kids songs, Kodai, which is not spelled like it sounds at all. It is spelled Kodai. Kodai is a method for teaching elementary music, like in public school, music teachers teaching, that centers around folk music as the repertoire. And also ORF, ORPH. So KODALY or ORF, ORPH, are two programs that center on using folk songs to teach kids music programming. And so both of those, if you look like folk songs for Kodai first graders, you know, you'll get a lot of really nice, simple, traditional folk songs, and they collect songs from all over the world. So it's a nice source if you're like, I'm looking for a particular song about like a subject, like I'm looking for a folk song about mountains that kids would be able to sing. So those are good places to like keywords to search for. I am also a huge fan of the We Sing books. So there are We Sing whole collections, and they are spelled WEE. They were out of print, and I just learned actually now and order We Sing books, and some of them are available as digital downloads. So there's like We Sing silly songs, We Sing campfire songs. This one has circle games in it. There's We Sing nursery rhymes and lullabies and Bible songs and lots and lots. This is the old We Sing silly songs cover. There's a new cover on it, but they've got a lot of short songs in them. So they're going to give you words, standard notation, and chords, and they're going to be in the keys that they think kids can sing them in. So they aren't going to give you Mountain Dulcimer tab, but they would give you a starting point for at least what chords to play and the words to all these silly songs. Dr. Marilyn Ward did a doctoral research project on the 100 folk songs that have been most sung in American schools. And so I've drawn from that list, and she gave me permission to share that with other dulcimer players. It's actually been referenced in the Dulcimer Players News, and we've shared it there. But you are welcome to write to me if you would like that list. Another great, a couple more great collections that are like from people in the kind of old time music, dulcimery, folk circles. American Folk Songs for Children by Peggy Seeger. Sorry, not Peggy, Ruth Crawford Seeger, part of the Seeger family. American Folk Songs for Children. I was able to find this one used. And also Jean Ritchie's Kentucky Mother Goose. And these are both collections of just lots and lots of fun kids songs, many of which came from like the same region that dulcimers come from. And it's always fun if I'm doing like a library program to sing some songs that came from the same place the dulcimer comes from. So here's what I'll just name in passing. This could be a very long conversation. A lot of traditional songs that were sung in the mountains are also very racist. And so it can be important to be careful about which ones we keep singing, and sometimes just modify some words of verses. So folk music has been passed down mostly as an oral tradition for hundreds of years. And it got written down fairly recently as culture became more literate and focused on having resources in writing. So they got written down like the way they were sung at the time that they were written down. But those songs have probably been sung a lot of different ways over the course of history and can continue to be sung in new ways. And it's still folk music and it's still holding that tradition. So I just encourage you. I had a long conversation with Aubrey Atwater about this recently too. And she said, oh yeah, I just changed the words. Like I keep some of these songs that I really like and that kids really like, and I just change some of the words. So I think that is a good way to go. If there's a verse or some language in it that makes you feel uncomfortable, then change the words. Pick something different. Invite the kids to change the words with you. That's one of the things that I love to do. And then the last thing I will say is that I put together a list of songs that I sang with kids when I did daily sing-alongs at the height of the pandemic. I did for like a year and a half. I did an hour-long Zoom sing-along class with kids, first every single day and then once a week for another year or so. And I compiled a pretty good list of songs that the kids really like to sing, and I would be happy to share that with you too. So if those are resources that you think would help you, just write to me or comment in the Facebook video, and I can send you those lists if you'd like to have them. Okay, so I just want to talk a little bit. We got a few minutes left. I want to talk a little bit about my favorite ways of making songs more interactive. And those are by doing simple rhyming songs that give kids a chance to fill in the rhymes, and doing simple movement songs. So, two examples that I really love are This Old Man, which I'm going to go back to the key of C to do. So, This Old Man is great. It's simple and it's silly because we play knick-knack, paddywhack. What is knick-knack, paddywhack? We get to decide, right? That's just silly nonsense. So we're going to play knick-knack, paddywhack upon our something that rhymes with the number that we're singing, right? So it's a counting song. It has silly nonsense in it, and the kids can choose the rhyme for what we're going to play on. So I would sing with them, this old man, he played one. He played knick-knack on his thumb. With a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. Okay, now we're counting to 2. This old man, he played 2. He played knick-knack with the flu. He had the flu when he played knick-knack. With the flu, with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. This old man, he played 3. He played knick-knack on his knee. On his knee, with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. So I'm sure there was a way that song was written down, right? Originally sung, but I have sung it 100 different ways. And that's one of my favorite things to do with kids, is let them try to fill in the blank. And if they fill in the blank with a word that doesn't rhyme, I just try to direct them a little bit. Like, okay, well, 3 has an E sound at the end. What are some other words with E sounds? And we might say bee, tree, knee, plea. Okay, which one do you want to choose for the song this time? And so I help give them some starting points if they're having trouble with the rhyming piece of it. But that's a really fun, interactive one that's really simple. Oh yeah, flee. Yes. Doug, you're good at this. Okay, so then simple movement ones. The other one the one that I really like to use for this is if you're happy and you know it. And sometimes when we do if you're happy and you know it, we just stick with the word happy and we keep adding different kinds of things that we do when we're happy. So if you're happy and you know it, dance around. If you're happy and you know it, dance around. Or sometimes I use this as a social emotional learning song, and we don't just sing happy, but we also insert other kinds of feelings. So this one's better in the key of F. It starts on the middle string. Da 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 da. So I go with the capo on 3, and now I'm in F. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. But what's another way we feel? I don't always feel happy. Sometimes I feel grumpy. What do you do when you feel grumpy? Cross your arms? Let's try that. If you're grumpy and you know it, cross your arms. If you're grumpy and you know it, cross your arms. If you're grumpy and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're grumpy and you know it, cross your arms. How else do we feel? Silly? Okay, if you're silly and you know it, make a funny face. If you're silly and you know it, make a funny face. If you're silly and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're silly and you know it, make a funny face. It does make it hard to get back in time, but it's hard for the kids to get back in time too. And so we just take a little pause. You have to breathe before you start singing the next line, right? That's a 3-chord song, and I just play chords on that one. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. That's an A shape. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. That's a D shape. Then a G shape here, back to D shape again, and an A shape before we get back to D. The internet is also full of places that have chord charts. And so if you can find just the simple chord charts, and you guys, I just transpose them to D and I think about it in D, whether I'm playing in C or F or I'm in DAD and I have the capo on the 3rd fret, it doesn't matter. I think about it as being D and G and A and D. So I just look for these simple songs in the key of D and I learn to play them that way. And then I figure out what tuning I want to be in and where I put the capo in. To actually sing them in the key that the kids can most likely sing them in. And if you start, oh yes, if you're bored and you know it, roll your eyes. That's a good one, Jim. I like that one. Sometimes we do angry and we stomp our feet. And I've been actually really surprised sometimes at how much language kids have for feelings. Even little kids can name frustrated or they get like sad for sure. They get past just like happy, sad, grump, angry. They get into other emotions pretty quickly. And that's really cool because then you can try to talk about how they express those different feelings. And bored and rolling your eyes. Oh, why am I here? That's great. Okay. Well, that was a quick little rundown of some of my favorite strategies for singing with kids. Try to find a range that they too can sing in. That helps a lot. C and F tend to be good for that. Finding some fun songs that you like and then way simplifying what you play on the dulcimer to be able to play along with them without having to think so much about the dulcimer. And then inviting them to participate in the song by choosing some of the words, some of the actions. That can be a really good way of keeping them engaged. Cumulative songs. So if you need some suggestions, feel free to reach out to me. I love talking about my favorite things to do with kids. And just a quick reminder, tomorrow evening we have our monthly live workshop event with Lorinda Jones teaching. And I'm really looking forward to that. So check out the Dulcimer Crossing website for information about that. If you are a workshop level member already, you have access to that just by going to your live events page. If you are not already a subscriber to Dulcimer Crossing, or you are subscribed at a different level, you can upgrade for 1 month to participate, or you can just buy the single workshop and join us in that way. So I'll drop those links in this Facebook chat, and look forward to hopefully seeing some of you at the Lorinda Jones workshop tomorrow, Thursday evening. I'll be back with you again next week for another Wednesday morning live stream, and then Steve will be back for a week after that. So you'll get to see both of us over the next couple of weeks. Have a great week, my friends.